Hello and welcome to this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm your host, Jen Carlos. At Tuesday's meeting of the Planning Board, 2 zone change requests were on the agenda. The first was for the old package machinery property at 330 Chestnut Street, where developers have requested a change from industrial to yet-to-be-created mixed-use zone.
Conference centers, pool, all those great amenities. And again, great units, nice and open. Really the type of living that, these are the type of units you'd see in any single-family home. They're a great way to live.
Following a presentation by the developer about the concept, the board indicated it was looking for specifics in order to write an effective bylaw for the creation of the zone.
Basically, for this board, the description that we need at this point to write the bylaw is what uses would be in this district. And by that I mean we have a table of uses right now. And to go through that, for you to go through that and see which of those uses you would like to include in this district. Okay? That's kind of basic to the zoning process. The second, obviously, is the table of dimensions. That's your setbacks and your heights, basically. We need to see that. And then there's the other use regulations, which would be the mix, the parking formula, the amount of site coverage, amount of open space, if you will, impervious. That would be in the other use regulations. Finally, I've been talking with people about this because obviously it's a hot topic, and I keep hearing the word special permit.
2 speakers then raised a concern about the impact of potentially 600 luxury housing units on the town's percentage of low to moderate income housing.
My big concern is Chapter 40B, okay? I want to make sure, and just for those who aren't aware of, that's the comprehensive permit statute, that if we don't have 10% affordable housing, I didn't say low income, I said affordable housing as determined, a petitioner can come in through the state and force a project. I think we should be proactive. We do need affordable housing. We're presently at about 7%. And if this comes in by its own admission, is a high-end project, we would not be in a good position to argue with the state that we did not knowingly go into and reduce the number from 7% to 2 or 1 or whatever the number is. What I mentioned to council at the last town council meeting for the petitioner, I would like to make every effort to make a project of this magnitude 40B neutral.
We have a requirement by the state is a 10% of our housing stock for our regional fair share. At that time, now this is based on the 2010 census, but in the 2010 census we had 6,072 housing units in our town. Of that, 445 were subsidized. That was about 7.3% of our housing was low to moderate affordable. We haven't added any since then, according to their records, and I don't believe we have. The 2020 census will give us new numbers, and the feeling is that without having added anything, that we would be down to about 3% of our required 10%. So there is a need for the town to think about taking some sort of initiative to acquire some more affordable, more appropriately priced housing for our younger families that want to stay in East Long Meadow and our older families that don't want to leave.
A second zone change request sought the rezoning of a large residential parcel off of Pease Road to industrial use for a solar project.
This parcel that we're talking about, the location of the project is important. It's privately owned by us. We own the parcel. Historically, it had been used for a form of orchard agriculture, but it's not used that way today. It's gone fallow, it's not maintained, but it is undeveloped. There are no structures of any kind on that property.
So the existing solar array in East Long Meadow on the Long Meadow line, the closest residence is probably a half-mile away into Long Meadow, or you have to go down Benton for at least another half a mile. And it's in an existing industrial zone. This is actually creating a new industrial zone. So there is a difference. with respect to all of that. And I do have concern on what is the potential viability of developing of those two residentially zoned lots right there.
If approved, I fear a slippery slope of zoning change that could be legally challenged by all the aforementioned surrounding large property owners. Eversource would likely have legal ground to place ground-mounted solar on all 100-plus acres.
You keep saying how far away this is from anywhere, but you'll notice Bella Vista creeping in here, Autumn Ridge creeping in here, this one creeping in down here. Slowly from the edges, this whole area is getting developed. And this has all happened within the past 15 years. This area, John Pearson and his family are not going to be farming this forever, okay? If there's solar or industrial zoning here, the value of these parcels for eventual development is going to decline, in my opinion.
I'll make a motion to recommend the zone change.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Now, all those in favor, if you vote yes, it means that you want to recommend the zone change to the town council. If you vote no, it means you do not want to recommend it to the town council. Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Nay.
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 Nay. Nay.
Okay.
Last Friday, a panel discussion at East Longmeadow High School brought a panel of graduate students from MIT's Sloan School of Management to field questions from ELHS and Birchland Park students on issues of diversity and leadership. Organized by Social Studies Department Chair Eddie Polk and ELHS alumna Ashley Pelzik, the event was designed to encourage respectful, reflective conversations about growing diversity in the community and the challenges that presents.
No, it's really an honor to be back here. It's pretty cool to come back to our high school. It looks mostly the same. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. Some are my high school classmates, which is kind of weird. They're all teaching here and are administrators now, but it's really a pretty cool experience to come back to East Longmeadow and be able to do this. As Mr. Polk mentioned, there's a pretty great program that we have in place at MIT, and I thought it was unfair that we were the only people that got to experience that. And it's what we call it is an Ask Me Anything series, or AMA panel, and we do it for a broad range of topics, whether that's veterans, we did that last week for Veterans Day week, we do it for mental health issues, LGBTQ community, we basically do one for every kind of community that's being represented at our school. And we have these open forums where people can just ask questions and have answers provided in a somewhat safe space where people are respectful, and then they get some of those stereotypes removed and people provoke thoughtful conversations. That's what we're hoping to do today.
One of the things that we often gloss over when we talk about diversity and inclusion is all of the different ways that people can be different outside of like race and ethnicity.
So this last year, there's been a significant gap between administration and students when it comes to the topic of cultural diversity and ways of implementing different things into the school. So what's a way to try and bridge that gap?
I realized the common denominator, even at Sloan, which is so us, is if things aren't happening, I mean, obviously I encourage having open dialogue and communication with your administration, but taking the initiative upon yourself to make things happen.
What's your guys' advice on teens like me receiving racist criticism on a day-to-day basis?
My advice is literally find what it is that you love, what you're passionate about, what you're great at, and push it, and push it. And when they say that, use that to drive you. But if you let it stop you, then they win, right? They win when you stop. So you keep fighting. That's it. That's it. That's what got us here. That's what's gonna keep us pushing. Let me calm down. But that's it, right? So when someone says that, you say, nah, I'm not. Whatever they say, you say, no, I'm not. Right? And you walk a little bit faster, and you put your shoulders back a little bit more, and you say, I got this, and that's it. That's all there is to it. You cut it off right there.
We can't all just have those experiences organically. We can't just force those things to happen. But when you do find yourself in that position where you are the person that has a voice and can speak up on behalf of somebody else, use it. Take part in conversations like this. Hear stories from your friends or your colleagues or your classmates who are different from you, and actually care. Don't just say it to seem diverse, but really try to figure out where they're coming from. And I think that'll tie into Andrew's background and to what Aaron just spoke to, and it'll fix a lot of those issues, and you can at least stand up for somebody else.
The full event is available on ELCAT. Last Saturday was National Take a Hike Day, and the East Longmeadow Rec Department's Donna Prather organized 2 hikes on local trails. ELCAT went along to get out for the exercise and enjoy the winter woods with guides George Kingston and Bruce Moore. Here's a short video highlight.
Trying to be patient. You know how I am.
Well, it goes out, I think, over the side. You going now? Go ahead. Go ahead. It's been there 100 years.
Okay, I need to look at there. Whoa. Ah!
Made it out of the cave. Are you right behind me? Alright, so put your foot up here when you get up. I'll give you a hand. Alright, one foot up there. It's slippery, so be careful. Alright, see that? Put your right foot there and grab your left hand on that rock above you. Start pulling yourself up.
Here.
So you did it all by yourself.
Good job.
So look at how far we went underground.
Now
like a mole.
I was cold.
Oh, look at
No, it's, you went in a little.
Also on Saturday, the ELHS Athletic Hall of Fame honored 8 new individual members at its banquet and induction ceremony, as well as the 48 members of the 1976 boys swim team.
Nick Ahmed was a four-sport athlete while in high school. ESPN TV announced him as the National League Gold Glove Award winner at shortstop.
It's just cool to celebrate here tonight, especially with some former teammates of mine getting inducted as well.
Gil played basketball on the first East Long Meadow High School team ever invited to a state tournament.
I save everything. Because my goal was to become a math coach and athletic director and a coach, and all those things happened.
Linda Nucci competed in gymnastics her freshman through her junior years.
Sports in general provides many life lessons for those who participate, and my experience was no exception.
Craig DeFranco was a three-sport athlete participating in hockey, baseball, and golf.
Now that I'm the coach at the school, Coach McGee definitely gave me the model for what it takes to run a successful baseball program.
Lauren Raimondi was a three-sport athlete. Lauren continues to hold the school record for the 100-meter high hurdles.
Being part of the East Longmeadow track and field program has had a significant influence on my life and has helped shape me into the person I am today.
Lauren Lister was a four-sport athlete participating in track, indoor track, cross-country, and skiing.
For me, running is not a sport, it's a lifestyle. And I'm so grateful for my family, my coaches, and my teammates at ELHS that formed that foundation for me.
Chris Setian, who was three-time All-League and All-Western Mass in football. Chris helped his team to the Western Mass Championship.
You know, everyone's athletic career starts with a date, ends with a date. Everyone remembers the stats, the wins, the losses. And I think that dash in the middle should be about your memories.
Kelby Zimmerman was a two-sport athlete participating in cross-country and swimming. The 1975-1976 boys swim team, the winningest team in the history of East Longmeadow sports.
We had scholar athletes that come out for our sports. You got to remember that in all the athletics that we have. These kids are all scholar athletes. You know, they're creme de la creme.
The Health Department has published its new guide to trash and recycling, which will be mailed to residents this week. The booklet provides information on disposal, waste stream reduction, and recycling initiatives by the town. Compost bins are now available for purchase from the Health Department. Reduce methane emissions from landfills and lower your carbon footprint by composting common household waste like leftover fruits and vegetables, tea bags, coffee grounds, and more. For more information, visit eastlongmeadowma.gov/755/composting. A reminder that the annual Christmas tree lighting at the Rotary takes place Friday, December 7th at 6 p.m. In addition to the new brilliant lights and a star adorning the tree, stop by the First Congregational Church to greet Santa, enjoy hot cocoa and refreshments, and welcome the onset of the holiday season. That's it for this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm Jen Carlos. Thanks for watching, and happy Thanksgiving.
1:15 and ticking. Not sure about overtime. Heard mixed reports. So we will see. Addison under center. He's going to pitch it to Mazza out to the left. Mazza cuts back all the way to the right, and he's going to sprint around the right side. Hunter Mazza, what a play! Shakes and bakes, stretches for the pylon. Touchdown, Spartans! What a run from Mazza. He went all the way to the left, then cut all the way back to the right. Third and 10 for the Lancers. 14 seconds in ticking. Quarterback drops back, throws, picked off by John Oliver. And he is tackled inside the 10, but this game will be over with that pick by Oliver. The boat was indeed rowed today by the Spartans. So a storybook ending for the Spartans. Hunter Mazza, probably the heart and soul of this team, comes and makes a big play. Put him up, and then John Oliver, their ever so reliable defensive player, picks one off to seal it. We'll see the knee from Addison as these seniors will get a good send-off from their Spartan football career with a win on Thanksgiving over their arch rival Longmeadow Lancers. We hope you've enjoyed this season with us. It has been an entertaining one by all means. As the Spartans close it out here, Devin Dobeck, John Swinton signing off, and me and Brendan will see you at hockey season. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Congratulations, East Long Meadow.